So if any of you have been reading any gaming websites over the last few weeks, you might have heard about the Spartan, or as many people are calling it, the SEGA Spartan. The reason being that this is a proposed console that will play classic Sega games. Now, this isn't actually an official Sega product, so the question is, could it be made? Well, that's something that they're hoping to get done. If you look at the FAQ page, they say that it's not endorsed by Sega. The project serves to build a working prototype to propose to Sega. So these people are trying to get this made. They're trying to get Sega to, develop a console. They've developed a game called Sonic 4K, and it's going to be priced between the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X. So it's not going to be cheap. You're talking about the 300, 350 mark. It doesn't use RetroArch or any kind of emulators. It uses its own Linux-based operating system called SpartanOS. Now, the actual specifications of this look quite good. You can see here it's got 4GB GeForce graphics card, 1TB hard drive, 16GB of DDR4 RAM. There has been 2 blog posts already. Now, the first one shows you the controller, and it shows you the prototype of the console. The controller kind of looks like an Xbox controller, but it's got a turbo button there. R1, R2, all the classic buttons. Kind of standard now in controllers. It's got a turbo button, rumble motors, 50-hour battery life, 7 to 10 meter range. White and black versions will be available. And what's this? As well as clips and grips and skins. Right, that's kind of accessories. So this is Sonic 4, you can see here. It's a little video here playing, and it's just a little demo. I don't know how much of the game they've actually got this. I don't know if they've just done this just to kind of illustrate what could be done. And this is the prototype that they generated for the console. This is what they're hoping to make, a 3D render. But actually, today, well, yesterday by the time that this gets published, 22nd of October, it actually was designed. This is the prototype there. You can see the joystick, the gamepad, and the console there. Now, the console looks quite... It looks like Alienware, doesn't it? It looks like the kind of cheesy Dell Alienware gaming range of neon red colours. I don't know if I'm really into that, but looks like a big console. Kind of looks like an Xbox. At the front, it will have 2 USB 3.0 ports. At the back, there's another 2. There's a USB Type-C port, Thunderbolt, that's quite good, HDMI outlet, DisplayPort, and Ethernet. So, they've got all the ports covered, I would say. Space in the chassis to add a disk drive. 6-button controller, open source. So, that is... Well, I mean, that's all there really is so far. They've kept the cards close to their chest, and they're just hoping that Sega will pick this up. The question is, could this happen? Well, whether this will be released or not, I'm not sure. The console is hoping to, play a lot of different consoles. And if you go down here, you can see that it will play games from the Game Gear, Master System, Genesis, Saturn, and Dreamcast through software, hardware, emulation. Now, again, the question is, could we see this happen? Well, personally, no, I wouldn't say so. The console might be developed. I don't, I think the developers of this, they're developing something quite cool, something that I think a lot of people would like. Whether Sega will pick this up, I personally don't think so. I don't think it will happen. The reason being that Sega, I think, whether, if they do something hardware-wise, I think they would probably, do something themselves. Maybe this will give Sega a kick up the bum to do something. Maybe not. I don't know whether this console, in its shape or form, they're developing this Spartan console, and fair play to them. They're trying to get Sega to develop another console. I mean, I grew up, my friends had the Master System, my brother had the Mega Drive, I had the Saturn and the Dreamcast. So, I am a Nintendo guy, I guess, but I always loved the Sega systems. I never understood this whole Sega versus Nintendo thing. I love both systems, and I'd love to see something like this being made. And, when I talked about the Mini NES, when I talked about the Mini SNES, I talked about the fact that Sega need to do a Mini Mega Drive or a Mini Master System. There's been so many third-party versions of that. There's lots of them, the plug-and-play Genesis Mega Drives. And I think it would be really cool if Sega picked this up themselves and did something like that. A console, or a large console like that plays Dreamcast and Saturn and Mega Drive and Master System, Game Gear. I think that would be pretty awesome. You know, would maybe put me off though, do I want to be spending Xbox One S or Xbox One X or PS4 Pro money to get it? I don't know. You know, I think it's a lot of money. It's a big ask, but essentially what you're doing is buying a big PC, essentially a big Linux-based PC. The reason I don't think Sega will do it is because I think they will do something themselves if they do anything. But the bigger question really is, are we going to see Sega return to the hardware game? You know, they've been a software developer for many years. After the Dreamcast, they called it quits in the hardware sector. I guess you would call it the hardware market. And they focused on publishing, and they did games for, you know, for all platforms. And they do games for mobile phones and things like that, but we haven't seen them develop any hardware. They haven't developed like a mobile system since the Game Gear. They haven't really tried anything else new, and they seem quite happy. They still do the odd arcade machine, I believe. But I don't think we're going to see them coming back to this. Maybe we'll see. I mean, I'm sure there's somebody in Sega, if they've got any common sense, they'll be looking at what Nintendo's doing with the Mini SNES and the Mini SNES. They will be looking at how successful it is. And if they've got any sense, they'll try and do something similar with the Genesis and the Mega Drive. Wash, rinse, repeat. There is a market for this. There's people that grew up with these systems and they still want to play the games. And I don't see why they want it, you know, they don't want to try and go for that and develop it. But a system that does all those games, I don't see them going for it. And if we do see Sega doing any kind of hardware, enter the hardware market, it could be like a mini Mega Drive, a mini Genesis, it could be a mini Master System, but I don't think it's going to be an Xbox One size console that plays the Dreamcast and Saturn. I hope I'm wrong. I really do hope I'm wrong, because I think there's, you can play these games through emulation, but I do think when those games are only available via emulators, all these classic games kind of get lost in a way. Emulation does keep them alive, but, if the system's coming out, this is the thing, like, I saw this with the Mini SNES, and, and me and my friends were just talking about, I forgot about this game, and we're talking about playing all these classic games again. And we never talked about that, even though we could have been emulating them for the last 20 years. So I think hardware, emulation is good, but hardware, being, new hardware to play older systems, I'm all for it. I really am, especially when it's the original company getting involved and developing something good. Please do check this console out and read more about it at SpartanConsole.com. Although there's not really much to read. I have showed you the 4 pages on the website, but I'll leave a link to it anyway, and you guys can check it out. Please let me know what you guys think about it. Please do leave a comment below. I'd love to hear what you think about it. I hope I'm wrong. I hope we do see this developing. But I think what will happen is Sega will say thanks, but no thanks, and the Spartan console will maybe develop into something else. And maybe something good will come out of that. Maybe it will develop it into a really cool Linux-based system. Who knows? But it'll be interesting to see how it develops. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll speak to you all soon. Cheers.